Test review number 1. What is the slope of the line perpendicular to y minus 3x equals 5? The slope is not negative 3. You must solve for y to see the slope. Add 3x to both sides. That will cancel 3x on the left side and leave you with y equals 3x. 5 is positive, so plus 5. My slope is 3 for this equation. Now let's find what's perpendicular to 3. So put it over 1 and flip it. It becomes 1/3. I am positive, change the sign, make it negative. Therefore, D is the answer. Let's do number 2. On number 2 it says, the equation y equals 1/2 x minus 3 is parallel to 8y equals 4x plus 16. Or the equation y equals 1/2 x minus 3 is perpendicular to 8y equals 4x plus 16. Finally, the equation y equals 1/2 x minus 3 is not perpendicular but intersects 8y equals 4x plus 16. Let's figure out how to do this problem. Whenever talking about parallel or perpendicular, you need to write the slope or figure out the slope. The slope in this problem is 1/2, so m equals 1/2. The slope is not 4. You must solve it for y. Divide the 8 off because it's multiplied. You now have y equals 1/2 x plus 2. The slope is 1/2. They match. You have parallel lines. Explain why this equation and this equation are intersecting lines that are not perpendicular. You can graph this on the calculator. You can graph them by hand. I'm going to graph them by hand because I know we need that practice. So, let me get some graph paper. And let's graph these by hand and see if the two lines are perpendicular. B is -1, so go to -1 on the y-axis. You're going to go up 2 and to the right 1. Up 2 and to the right 1 because you're putting it over 1. Yes, you can just put it in the calculator and see, but sometimes if you're going to use the protractor to check it, it's going to be hard to do that on the calculator. I don't know how you would do that, given the screen is smaller than the protractor. But you may be able to. I have tried, so not saying it's not possible. I just haven't done it. So I'm getting my protractor, and I'm going to use it to connect my line. Now we do the second one. Go to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I am going to plot slope -3 over 1. So that is down 3 to the right 1. Down 3 to the right 1. Remember, the negative only belongs to the top, not the bottom. Go the opposite way. 1, 2, 3. Connect my line. Now I'll use the protractor to show you that they are not perpendicular. So as you can see, the red line and the black line of this protractor are lined up. The circle is on the solution. And it points between 40 and 50 when it should be here. So I know that this is not perpendicular. It does not create a 90-degree angle. If it did, it would be here. And then you would have a 90-degree angle. But you don't. It's only from here to here. 90 is there. So on number 3, explain why these two equations are intersecting but not perpendicular. They do not create a 90-degree angle. So just because they cross doesn't mean that they're perpendicular. Number 4, explain why this equation and this equation do not have a solution. A couple of things you got to remember. What does one solution look like? What does it mean to have a solution? It means that they cross once. I have a solution. It's one solution. It crosses once. We know that. I'm just going to keep going. I was going to say something else. I'm going to keep going. So no solution would mean that they wouldn't cross at all. Which means I'm given parallel lines. No solution means parallel lines. To be parallel, you should remember they have the same slope. We just did that on number 2. So I'm going to look at my two problems and say my slope for this is 4. My slope for this is not 12. You must divide by 3. And although you get a fraction, you don't need to look at that part. You're only looking at m. And m is 4. These two match. That means they're parallel. What does that have to do with not having a solution? They don't touch if they're parallel, therefore it's no solution. So explain why these two problems do not have a solution. The slopes are the same. Therefore, the lines are parallel. And if the lines are parallel, they don't touch. Which means that there is no solution. The slopes are the same, therefore the lines are parallel, and if the lines are parallel, they do not touch. That is why these two equations have no solution. If you forget about the slopes being the same, graph both of these in the calculator. And I'm going to show you, and for those that don't need this, you just fast forward past it. So I'm going to go to the home screen, new document. No, I do not want to save. And I am going to add a graph. And let me zoom in. Whoa. You want to type in the first equation, and this is typing it in incorrectly. You do not need the y equals. Just type in the 4x, plus 5. Enter. To bring it back, press tab and type in the second equation that you solved for. Press enter. You have parallel lines. They do not cross. No solution. I'm going to stop the video here, and the next video will start at problem number 5.